Big D Entertainment, in association with Dipsy Doodle Productions, presents The Dave Holly Hour. Brought to you by the Sky Lounge and Tea, XL Chiropractic, Quality Nails, Hop Brewery Tours, and Jesse Moffett Entertainment. The Dave Holly Hour features Sioux Empire Arts and Entertainment Conversations and has been recognized by the Sioux Falls Stage Awards with a special distinction for promoting the arts. A true lover of arts, entertainment, good food, and fun times, including an occasional Jack Daniels. Okay, so a few Jack Daniels. Here he is, Dave Holly.
Welcome, everybody. It is episode 103. It's also our Halloween episode. Not only that, it's a bonus episode because it's not a Dave Holly Hour. It's a Dave Holly Hour plus another half, maybe even a few minutes past that. It's a big show today, including Halloween, as we talk about the outdoor Halloween Front Porch Halloween Bash being put on by Neon Horizon. Members of that band, Mark Gillespie and Michael Pearson, will be in to tell us all about that. Later on in the show, trombonist Ken Hoyne. If you are familiar with the Sioux Falls jazz scene, you have seen Ken play. He's a wonderful trombonist. He's involved in a number of groups, has his own called Bonafide Jazz Band. Heard them recently. They are a knockout. Also, later on in the show, creator, actor, singer, Madison Lynn Rimmer will be joining us. Have a lively talk about her. She is a lively young lady. Plenty going on. We'll talk about that, but let's start off this show properly. Time to grab your favorite beverage, lift it high, and toast it to being Thursday, a.k.a. Weekend Eve.
Hey, the weekend isn't around the corner, it's here!
So long, hump day in your frumpy way. We say hello to Thursdays with opening nights. The weekend is near and we can see the bright lights. Yes, Thursday, you're so hearty, we can't wait for Friday, so a day early, we start the party. Well, I always tell you, toast with whatever you have in hand while you're listening to this, and that is going to be different based upon the time of day and so forth and where you are listening. But a special toast to my friend John St. Pencava from Canton, who loves Letterkenny, so he would toast with a Puppers beer. We can't find it here. Damn it. But anyway, a toast to John because he bought me a cup of coffee. He didn't buy me a cup of coffee. He bought me 5 cups of coffee. That's right. I recently added Buy Me a Cup of Coffee to my website and, some of the other sites that I'm on and so forth. Just a way for you to occasionally say, hey, Dave, thanks for doing a great job with the show. We certainly appreciate it, because there are expenses. The advertisers I have pay just enough that I can afford my subscriptions to be on the platforms and to have, a few other things. My website, that helps me out with that. But, there's still equipment. And even though I have a very nice set of equipment right now, occasionally things break down. In fact, right now I have to get a new microphone cable, particular size and so forth. So, there's always things like that. So you could do the same. But in the meantime, thank you so much, my buddy. He's not made of spare parts. No. Big 10-4. Texas size 10-4 that man is awesome. So thank you, John. Appreciate it for buying me some cups of coffee. The Weekend Eve Toast has been brought to you by Hop Brewery Tours. No matter what brewery in Sioux Falls is your favorite, or Glacial Lakes Distillery now on the list, Hop Brewery Tours lets you and your friends choose any or all. Best part? They take care of the driving in a very cool van. Sits up to 6, so you can take your pals with you. Book your private tours online at aArtsbrewerytours.com. But if you're already out and about on the weekend, hop on one of their public tours. For more info on those, call 605-777-2183. That's 605-777-2183. Some of the things that people say include, I would recommend this tour to anyone, beer lover or not. Hop Brewery Tours, where micro fans meet microbrews. So besides that weekend eve toast, we have to have this. Honorable mention. I'm sure we will get these guys on the show at some point. But you know that guy that does the intro? Once again, here's Dave Holly, and after talking about the Jack Daniels, well, that would be Zach Dresch. You better know him as the Flu Bug. He's also a great comedian, does a lot of stuff in the entertainment world here in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. He's in a few bands, and he is in a new late-night talk show that will have its pilot filmed tonight at the Washington Pavilion starting at 7 o'clock. Suggest they get there early. It's going to be in the Belbus, so it's not restricted, but limited seating and so forth. So make sure you get there. It's Zach is just one of the many that will be on that show. He's obviously been on before. We've talked about him in his comedy and his improv and his bands and his music, etc. But so tonight, congratulations, my friend Zach, and others that will be involved in Late Night Boomin'. Looking forward to being part of the audience in that tonight. Okay, well, what do we have coming up? A big show, my goodness, an hour and a half plus. It's a bonus time this time for the Dave Holly Hour. It's coming up later on in the show, Madison Lynn Rimmer. Before that, well, first of all, let's tell you about Madison. She's an actor, a singer, a creator, and then the trombonist, Ken Hoyne. I would even say the trombonist, Ken Hoyne, is going to be on in the midst of the show. But coming up next, we're going to be talking a little bit about that Halloween. That's right. The Front Porch Halloween Bash being held at Mark Gillespie's house. Mark and Michael Pearson from Neon Horizon are next on the Dave Holly Hour.
Sure, they have darts, and you've heard me talk about how ruggedly handsome the trivia host is, but all caps fun never stops at the Sky Lounge and Tea. And fun is best had with your friends enjoying live entertainment, as in live and local. Yeah, the Sky Lounge believes in giving you the best bands, solo artists, and comedians from the area. The Neo Johnsons, Elizabeth Hunstead, Skylar Volks, as well as many others. And a great staff will make sure you enjoy your fun at the Sky Lounge in Tea, South Dakota.
The Dave Holly Hour. Like eavesdropping on a great conversation between two very interesting people.
Welcome back, everybody. Oh, my goodness gracious. What have we done this time? We've brought in something for Halloween. We've brought in a new band as well, but some familiar names and faces that you will recognize. But we're going to have some fun coming up on Saturday, that is for sure. Joining me from Neon Horizons, Mark Gillespie and Michael Pearson. Gentlemen, great to have you on.
It's great to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, and, Michael and I have known each other for a while. I've known you for a lot longer.
Yep, we have.
Going back to a couple of times past removed on restaurants. And since we're in a wine bar, I do have to tell this story. You know, most people that listen to this show know that my favorite beverage in the world is a Jack Daniels Diet Coke with a lime, better known as a Jasper Newton. But there was a time when my wife and I would go down to the diner in Sioux Falls, which you were managing at the time.
Yeah.
And we would always get Little Boomy. It was a very smooth wine. We liked it.
Yeah, it's a good one.
And we got there on a Saturday night one time, and the waitress came up, and she knew that we liked Little Boomy. She says, "I'm sorry, we're out of Little Boomy." And I was like, oh. Mark says, "Hold on." He takes off on a sprint. He doesn't just exit, find a car, go. No, he takes off on a sprint down to Sid's Liquors when it was still here.
That's right.
Buys a bottle of Little Boomy, sprints back with it, and sets it on the table. It's like, man, if that isn't the best part of customer service that you could ever have.
I aim to please my man.
You did it, and you did it so well. It was fantastic, and so great to finally get you on the show. Because, you know, when you were at, after that, you moved on to Pilates.
Yep.
And Pilates was the first Dave's Fave on the podcast.
That's right.
Because you taught everybody there so well.
Thank
you
you.
are a great manager, because what shows in great management is how well your staff works. And for having relatively young people, but then most everybody below my age is, but for having relatively young people, they knew what they were doing. And it was
they
just,
did.
yeah, and such a great job. And you and Kayla now have sold it, but most of the things are staying.
Yep.
And so that's good, because it also includes art that is there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's a big thing. In fact, it's all going to come back, tie in here in just a moment as we talk about art, we talk about your music, we talk about a big fun thing you're going to do on Saturday, and the art part will come back to it based off of somebody that's going to be there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
So let's get it all started. First of all, tell us about Neon Horizon and the band itself. Besides the two of you and Kayla, who else is in it and who does what?
Yeah, well, we have Aaron Keller, and he and I have been writing music for quite a long time together, so he's an amazing local musician. I think Michael and I are very happy and just thrilled to be playing with Aaron.
Sure.
Like you mentioned, my wife Kayla, definitely the songbird of my house. So, and then we have Matt Green, who is also my cousin, and so yeah, we're a 5-piece. And yeah, we're loving what we're doing. Very excited about it.
All right. So you mentioned you write music as well.
Yeah.
So there will be originals.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But also, a fair amount of covers that people are going to go, oh yeah, man, I remember dancing to this when I was in
We
high
got some
school.
good Halloween stuff coming. For sure.
Halloween stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Even. Oh, I like that. Yeah.
We'll sprinkle in some fun.
Oh yeah.
So how many gigs have you guys had so far since you started this?
Well, we timed the band perfect. We started playing about a year right before COVID.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
and then no, we've played quite a bit out. We started playing a lot at Pave, so their staff and their management team has just been incredible with us. And we've done quite a few gigs down there. As things slowly continue to open, we're just trying to get our foot in the door wherever we can and keep spreading our music and sharing it with everybody.
Well, the one great thing about it is there's so many places you can play now.
Right, exactly.
Because I saw plenty of jazz when you guys had Pilates.
Yep.
Would make it over for that. Saw you play drums a few times.
Yeah.
And just a fantastic thing that there are so many places. Here we are at our wine bar, which has jazz every Thursday night. They've got Haig Brothers on Friday nights. They've got live music on Saturdays.
Right.
They've, and a few other times throughout the month they scatter it in. Then you have, not only that, but, think of how many, at least, up until probably this past weekend, street performers.
Yeah.
People outside, but so many venues now that people can take advantage of. And, Michael, I know you've been around and playing music for a long time.
Yeah.
That's got to be a great thing for you to see as well.
Yep, absolutely. And even with all these venues, Mark will still build a venue, and
Which it sounds like he's kind of done.
it's that entrepreneur sense, Yep.
But it has to make you feel pretty cool about, being involved with a band like
Oh,
this,
absolutely,
too,
yeah.
doesn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, we're thrilled that Mike came back from Seattle, and I'm pumped to be playing with him. He is a powerhouse on the bass. That's
That
for
he
sure.
is. Yeah, he can make that thing move.
That's right, he can.
Yeah. Although I'm still waiting for a bass player that will play the theme to Barney Miller.
Hey, well, we got time.
I said next time I played and you were there, I think I would play that.
Okay.
We'll see about
So have you
Halloween,
been
but
working on it then?
Maybe. I mean, I've heard it and I've listened to it, but
Okay.
I got you next time.
All right. Thank
Maybe
you.
after
Appreciate
Halloween,
it.
but
That'll be okay.
Okay.
That'll be okay, yeah. So we're going to have a Halloween bash.
Yeah.
And before we get to that, though, Neon Horizon, where'd the name come from?
I think it really came from just these beautiful, particularly fall and winter sunsets that we have in this area. I mean, you can go all over the world, all over this country, and you don't find these electric sunsets like we have. So I was really drawn to that. Shout out to our home, and that's kind of loosely where the name is from.
Yeah,
so.
they're spectacular. In fact, the absolute prettiest sunset I ever saw, it's been 20 years ago now, but I was having to do a 9-man football game when I worked up in Brookings.
how many men are there usually? Sorry.
11.
Okay.
Yeah. And so it was a 9-man football game up in Hayti.
Sure.
And their stadium, high school field and so forth, is right next to a lake. And it was
awesome.
about a little earlier, mid-October probably, and the sun was setting, and it hit that lake, and it was the most beautiful thing that I've ever seen. And so I tell people that, oh, you're in South Dakota, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, like, come and check it out.
Come and stay for a sunset.
Yeah, no doubt.
And the sunrises are as good, too.
Yeah, you're right.
All right, so I like that. It's a fun name, and looks like you're having fun on the designs of it, too.
Yeah, definitely.
Putting it all together with the graphics and the marketing.
Yeah, we're having
so,
a blast.
okay, here we go. It's time for Halloween.
Yes. Well, I think the premise behind these is, we started brainstorming as a band when COVID was in its midst. And of course, it's not over, but when you're struggling to find a venue, we started doing these pop-up shows. And our home, mine and Kayla's house, has a really inviting front porch. Not a lot of neighbors, so that helps. But,
Don't complain about the loudness.
No, they're great. They partake, and it's great. But no, we thought that we would bring the venue to our audience in that aspect. And we had Al and Vinny from the band Mo come, and we opened for them, and that was just a super, super intimately cool experience. Two guys in a band that I grew up with a lot of respect and looked up to. So yeah, just shy of 2 months ago, they played at our place, and at the end of the night, we got up on stage and played with them. Just the nicest, greatest guys, and nothing happened. The riffraff stayed away, and everything went off without a hitch, and we were like, we can do these again.
Yeah, you said it right. It was nice, intimate,
Right.
But it was a lot of people there and having a good time. I mean, Mark brought in some these people that did empanadas and sold them, and
they were good.
It was really cool.
Yeah, so we kind of brought that food aspect there. We had kind of a bring your own beer situation, but we had some beverages too, and it was fantastic. So we're gonna do it again, and we're pumped.
How many were there the first time then?
Say 170. I'm terrible at that.
Yeah, somebody told me around 130, but I think people get carried away when they're counting.
Well, and they might be counting after a few too.
Yeah. I like that number better.
Yeah,
it was quite.
There was loosely 100, I'd say.
We got pictures online. I think Kayla took a shot from the stage, and you can see everybody.
Yeah,
it looks
pretty cool.
Well, I'm just wondering, with it being Halloween now, that you're going to host this again at your house.
Yeah.
And this is for the public.
Yeah,
and anybody can make it. It's not
anybody
just a
and everybody's
Facebook
welcome.
thing,
Yep.
but anybody can show up.
Yep, that's right.
Mm-hmm. You doubling up on anything?
We have doubled up, yes.
Oh.
So we've kind of built like a nice staff, and it's just been put together probably like those first years of Jazz Fest, where we just have such close friends that just want to see music build.
Right.
And so I got to give love and shout out to Justin Beckman and Tony Risen. They are just the meat and potatoes behind this. They're the bomb. They just
good groupies, huh?
Oh yeah. So we have a good amount of friends that are just helping out, and it's fantastic.
Supporting us too.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
that's super big support.
Before we start talking more music, let's talk about the event itself and just kind of give the details. So. Your house, which would be
2204 East 57th Street, and it's loosely by 57th and Lewis as the quickest or easiest cross street. And you can find it on our Facebook page. The address is right there on the flyer. It's 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. show. And like you said, everybody and anybody's welcome. We're just looking to throw a great time and keep spreading Neon Horizons music and
costume contest, correct?
Absolutely, yeah.
All right.
So we're going to play a couple sets. In between those sets, we have Courtney Hardy, who was on your show recently. Great friend of mine. She was one of my managers at Claudia's in the past. So
and a great artist.
She is a great artist and just a people person. She knows how to work a crowd. So she's kind of the MC of the show, and she's going to
That's
host
what I'm liking.
Yeah, so she's going to host that costume contest. We're going to have some nice prizes that have been donated through packages and also gift cards. So bring your A game on the costumes, people.
Yeah,
and the way the reason you said BYOB-ish is because there will be some free beer to start, correct?
Yep. Looks Marketplace has just been fantastic about donating. Chad over there is their head brewer, just honestly the best brewer in the city and area. He just kills it. So He is going to do a take on their lime Nick Holtra. He's calling it Slime Holtra for the event. So it's kind of a lime-based, nice, light lager. And then it's in the process of still brewing, and it's going to be done in time, which is Night of the Creepy Scaries. And it is a coconut, chocolate, lactose brown ale. I'm like drooling just saying the name. So we're going to have both of those offered, and then we also have some product donated by Global Distributing. So that Chad over at Global was also we got power in Chads. Yeah. So he was
unless they're hanging Chads in an election.
But you can't have just one.
Yeah, exactly. So it's the Chad Squared Party. So big shout out to those guys and to Nick Heineman and the whole crew at Looks Marketplace and Global Distributing for sponsoring and helping us out with the event.
And then a food truck.
Yes, we also have some amazing street tacos. We're going to have some chicken tinga tacos and some pork belly tacos. Usually if you say pork belly, I'm right
around here, yeah.
So, yep, that's going to be kind of headed up by my brother-in-law, actually, Jamie Grogan, who's just probably the best chef I know. So I've eaten all of his experiments, all of his meals, and everything I've ever had by him is just top notch. Yeah. So,
well, this is too good of an event to pass up.
It sounds like a house show, or it doesn't sound like a house show. With
exactly,
the guy. He puts this together, and it's like when I rolled up to the last one, I was like, "This is like a venue that we're coming into."
Well, because everything they mentioned on the flyer, and I asked Michael, I said, "Is this how it looks?" He says, "No, it's at their house." It's like, "It's at their house?"
I've got a brave wife. No, she. It absolutely helps that she's a member in the band. I don't know if I'd get this to fly over the radar. No, it's awesome though. I'm just happy that. We're doing the second one, and we expect the same success, and just positive people coming out for a good night, and we're excited about it. So.
All right, what about the cost?
We're hoping for a minimum $10 donation. You know, it does take a lot to put on a show like this.
True. Yeah.
So, we figured if you went out anywhere that night to a bar, everybody kind of had last year's Halloween robbed from them between a house party or going out with, COVID hit very hard at this time last year. So it is a nice outdoor event. Again, you're not enclosed indoor.
It's supposed to be decent weather.
Yeah, it's, I keep looking at that phone, and it's the nicest day of the next 10. So
we got some heaters.
Supposed to be, we are going to have a tent and some heat.
Okay.
We're going to have a few bonfires rolling. Oh. The food and the beer.
We're taken care of.
Yeah.
And it's only $10.
Yeah,
$10. That's
it's nothing. That's a parking ticket if you're downtown. So, yeah.
Depends on how many times you're downtown.
So no, we're just we're asking for a minimum donation of 10, and just to take care of our crew and everybody putting it together.
Well, and I want to give a reason for that too. People that aren't involved in entertainment don't know the cost associated with things. I always love to, if I'm sitting next to somebody and they say, "Oh, I wonder how much you're making tonight," I said, "What's the matter?" I said, "Okay, because you're a drummer, all right? You have a drumming stool.
He gets paid less."
How much did that stool cost you?
Right, exactly.
People don't think of that. A cymbal stand, and then the bags to carry things in, and so forth. And people forget about that. And then, of course, I always love to tell the Jeff Gould story. Used to work with him, and he talks about when he went up to Wilmer, Minnesota, his hometown, went to the Candy, Ojai County Fair, and going around through the exhibits and so forth, and sees this wood carver, and he's known the guy's been in town for years and so forth, and sees this beautiful wood-carved eagle. And Jeff's admiring it, but he also sees it's got a pretty good price tag on it. So I asked him, he says, "Well, how long did it take you to make this?" He says, 37 years. Yeah. He says, "What?" He says, "No, I have 37 years experience. That's why it's $375.
Right.
Yeah, and how many hours go into just rehearsals for you guys with this band? You know, how often you get together, how often you're writing, you're putting things together. It's not just that, hey, let's show up, you know, have a couple of beers and play some music.
35 years, Mark, where are you at?
Yeah.
But let's, now we've kind of covered the party itself and so forth. And again, just sounds like a wonderful, it's going to be a hoot of a Halloween for me.
Yeah, we're excited.
Yeah. And looking forward to it. I've got my costume figured out now.
Nice.
Yeah. You won't win any awards, but it's going to be heartfelt.
I don't know. I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, you thought it was pretty cool. Yeah, good idea.
We have ours too. We're excited.
I'll put my vote in, just, you know.
Oh, but wait a minute. Miss Hardy is the judge.
Yeah. It could be biased. It could be biased. She might be taking bribes too.
How many other people have as much of her artwork in their home as we do?
Yep.
All right, but in the meantime, just sounds like a great time. But let's get to that experience in the music part then. When did you first get interested in music?
You know, I think since I was probably in diapers, my mom always tells me that I would put pots and pans upside down and
start banging on
grab a couple of, like a noodle strainer or whatever. And then, you know, bless both my parents' hearts, they got me that drum set in junior high. And
wow.
You know, that's when louder was better. And
yeah. And
you couldn't get better than louder, right?
Did they give you the garage?
They gave me the garage.
They did?
And then, and then I got moved downstairs into like the spare bedroom.
That had lots of carpet?
No, you know.
It didn't?
No. And then
So you made a little noise.
You got to give it up to drummer's parents. That's allowed.
You really do. I mean, oh my God, my parents were just like saints for doing that, and then I'll never forget it. You know, it's awesome.
I love your parents.
All right,
Yeah,
and so you mentioned loud. I'm guessing, you know, based off of age and so forth, it was rock.
Oh yeah.
But what other genres do you like to perform?
I mean, honestly, I like all and above. There's good and bad versions, in my opinion, of every genre of music.
Yeah,
and that
I'm with you on that.
Yeah, so I think Neon Horizon does touch on, you know, about everything. I don't know what I even classify our genre is. We're definitely an alternative rock band, but we're not afraid to touch any genre. So when we're writing, and also
I like to make people dance. I know that's like, you know.
Somebody shouts out a tune.
Yeah.
You know, if it's in the repertoire, you're going to do it.
Yeah, I mean,
whether it was on the set list or not.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of throw together our sets as like, you know, we're producing a show and giving you that kind of thing. So, but yeah, definitely anything and everything.
All right. So, Michael, what got you interested in music?
Well, I asked my dad to show me how to tie my shoes, and he handed me a cable, and I think I learned how to wrap a cable before I learned how to tie my own shoes. And when I was a little kid, I had a patch bay. My dad had a studio in the house. I had a patch bay in my room. And, you know, it was normal.
Who had one of those for that age?
Normal for me, but my friends would come over and they'd be like, "What is that?" It's like, "Dude, it's patch bay. You don't know what that is.
You don't have that in your
Let
house.
me show you. I'll plug this in here. We'll go downstairs and I can show you. We can like kind of talk to each other. Like.
Right.
And so he'd have all these different rooms, and then I'd go over to their house and I'd be like, "Dude, where's your patch bay?"
And so for you, was it also part of the equipment?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you know, the gear.
You know, and he had reel to reel, so that was the coolest thing. And he'd show you, put it on.
I think I was the only one in my graduating class that ever got a reel to reel.
Nice.
Yeah, had it.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I wish I hadn't sold it when I was so broke. But
hey, we've all been there.
Yeah,
you know,
we
when they had to edit tape back then, they had to like
razor blade.
I saw my dad doing that. I was like, dang, with editing now, it's way different.
Oh,
It's like,
no kidding, amazing.
Which we're coming out with an album at some point here. We're like, we're working on it. It's in the works. But.
Yeah, Aaron is kind of the master. Aaron Keller in our band. He's kind of the master engineer behind it, and like what he was talking about, not growing up your friends without a patch, you know, in your house. We're trying to talk Kayla into one side of my basement is where we rehearse live and we practice. The other side is like the studio side where we're recording the album. So we're just trying to like talk her into cutting through the sheetrock there and just having like plexiglass. This is going to make things quicker and easier.
That it would be.
I think she's just about on board. No, we're kind of just self-producing.
Subliminal message, Kayla. If you're listening.
Yep.
Everyone's listening.
We're punching through the wall.
If you don't do it now, don't let us do it.
Right.
Well, and the great thing about that, talking about technology, Michael, is the fact that now we can just watch a YouTube video on how to do that.
Exactly. And Aaron's just so savvy at it, and we're plugging through it, and we're hoping to get that wrapped up pretty quickly here. Just got a couple tracks left, and pretty happy with the way it's turning out so
Yeah,
far.
it's gonna be cool. We're doing it all ourselves and everything, and we'll send it off to get mastered, I'm sure. But
Yep.
Michael, what's been your favorite gig or event, festival or anything that you played?
ever or that we've played.
Yeah.
Oh,
and then
jeez.
follow it up with what you guys have played. So
Played Paradiso at the Gorge in Washington with a band, Johnny Sonic, and they're kind of like a circusy. They team up with another crew. It's called Super Geek League. You should check them out. But they rented a Ferris wheel, and we all spun around on the Ferris wheel while we played.
Oh wow,
That's pretty cool.
A lot of costumes, and they've got a whole bunch of circusy people that do. They sent up a woman in a hot air balloon, and she did trapeze or twirling around in this ring.
Yeah.
So she's in a hot air balloon over the crowd at the gorge, 40, 50 feet high. It's pretty cool.
Heck yeah.
Like a little personal hot air balloon, spinning around in a ring.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
All right. So as part of Neon Horizon, what's been your favorite?
I go off of how we played.
Okay.
Let's
go
I've got
that
experiences
route.
too.
How did
I
you
loved
play?
playing Deadwood. We played Deadwood Jam. That was really fun.
That was
we
fun.
played the 605 downtown block party.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun too.
Yep.
But honestly, I'm really digging these shows at Pave
Yeah.
because there's not a whole lot of live bands in
Upstairs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
We've done the
Like that
patio.
spot.
Oh, the
and
patio.
Yep.
The patio one, I think, might take the cake.
Yeah, it was
The
pretty
last
fun.
one was pretty cool. Shit, the first one was cool too.
It was, yeah.
I like playing that because there's not
I
a
do
lot.
too.
There's not
Yeah.
a lot of live bands in town as
True.
much as when me and
Yeah.
Mark were playing 15 years ago
Yeah.
in bands.
Definitely.
And I think it's cool that Geiken's kind of, not that he's the only one doing that, but that he's giving it a spot. Really
Yeah.
cool spot to do that.
Right.
Nice sound system, lights.
Yeah.
Really stoked. Their staff's cool, like Mark said.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Because our home base, back in the day, it was absolutely hands down the old brewery.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was like a second home to me.
Yeah.
And I know that my wallet showed that too.
I started washing dishes there, and
Yeah,
then I started running
Really?
sound for Tom O'Day. My dad knew him, right?
Yeah.
And I booked the first greenhouse thing there, because my dad was like, "Here, I'm going to bring in a Pat from
Yeah.
Janitor Bob's office
Right.
and show you
Yeah.
how to book a gig, kind of thing." It's kind of fun.
And
Pat
just
McIntyre.
yeah, great guy. And then all the hands that changed and the different names that came and went. I mean, I can't even count how many shows I've played there, and just seen amazing shows. And that was a big hit when that went away. And I think a lot of the bands in the last 15 years kind of felt that, and we're all searching for that real home again. I really feel like, and some have found it, and that's what we're starting to find in Pave, like Michael said. And we want to find others and just keep growing this music scene, because there's nothing more important to me than art and music, other than family and friends. And
No doubt.
So
Yeah. As my friend Mike Hendrickson always says, live music is good for the soul.
heck yeah, it is.
Yeah. So, Mark, your favorite gig that you've done? Double question then.
Yeah.
Aside from Neon, and then as Neon.
Yeah, favorite gig I've ever done. One of my favorites that comes to mind, I played back when I was playing with Solution. We did South by Southwest. That was really, really special to me. Just getting to go down to Austin and play, and that was a great experience for me. Kayla was in that project too, and that was fantastic. There's been a few, but that's probably one that stands out. I would say Neon Horizon. I honestly, I'm really proud of that thing we did with Al and Vinny. It was just fun to put yourself out there and try, let's put a show together, and maybe we'll fall on our face, and that's kind of exciting. It's when it's my home, I'm like, God, I don't know, Kayla, are 5 people going to show up?
I knew it wasn't going to fall on his face.
Or 100.
We're good.
and-
Mark and Kayla are putting together. We're good.
We're just like, I don't know, and that was a unique thing. And I mean, like I mentioned earlier in the program, Vinny's been one of my favorite drummers. Just I grew up big in the jam band scene, and that was a really special moment, just sharing the stage with him at the end of the day. And then Vinny was in another project when we played the Deadwood Jam, so we got to hook up with him a few weeks later and kind of reconnect. And great time. So.
All right. 2 questions I always end with. Michael, we'll start with you. Mm-hmm. When you're not part of the entertainment scene, what do you like to be entertained by?
Probably playing music. That's usually what I'm doing.
Yeah,
I mean,
okay.
It's hard to,
Which probably moots the last question then, is any other hobbies?
Yeah, no, No.
Okay. All right.
Never grew up playing sports ball or anything,
Yeah.
you know, just realized I couldn't. But it's kind of amazing. Like, you'd think if you play so much music, you'd be like, all right, I'm just going to set that aside. But I'm always just like tinkering on something.
Yeah. All right. So, Mark Gillespie, the same two questions.
Yeah, well,
When you're not entertaining, what do you like to be entertained by?
yeah, like you said, there's never enough hours or minutes in the day to continue to play on your own, and it truly does still entertain me. I mean, I can sit down at my drum set in my basement or at a piano and get lost for hours, you know, if the chores weren't there. And but no, honestly, my two girls, Izzy and Aubrey, they're just like never ending fun. They're just like the greatest little people ever.
All right.
They're a blast.
And so
Michael knows them well, and they're just nuts.
They'll come down in our practice and play with us too, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is.
the future is looking good then. Huh?
It is, yeah. Well, Kayla and I always joked when we got married, you know, once Isabella came along, that's my 10-year-old, we have an Izzy Gillespie. So a little shout out to Disney. Yeah, you know, we got to
get her a horn that's turned up.
I think they're even going to be on the album a little bit.
Yep.
We've got a little piece of them that's going to be
they'll have some samples singing on there. And
good deal.
She's a heck of a piano player. So
all right. So any other hobbies?
I'm kind of a tinker. I love building.
Okay.
I don't know. I love building stuff.
Building sets for Halloween parties?
Yeah, building patios or bars or building Halloween sets. Yeah.
He's a whittler. A wood whittler. You should see his stuff. It's amazing.
All right. So, guys, thanks again. Mark, just final details. Again, let's tell people where they can go Saturday night from 7 to 10 and have a hell of a good time.
Yeah, you're coming to 2204 East 57th Street. And I don't think you're going to miss it. You just look for the front porch with a bunch of people ready to boogie on it.
All right. Looking forward to it. Again, guys, thanks so much.
Yeah, thanks, Dave.
Neon Horizon. Great band that we're going to hear on Saturday night. And you're going to hear it, too, because I know you're going with me. All righty. Fantastic. We'll be back with more of the Dave Holly Hour in just a moment.
Hi, my name is Jesse Moffett, and I'm not a piano player. I'm a comic magician and hypnotist. I've been performing for over 20 years. I've performed at many events, corporate events, holiday parties, post-prom parties, graduation parties, state and county fairs, festivals, just about anything you can imagine. The funniest thing about the Magic Act is that I use a ton of audience participation, and that can make things really interesting. Put it down the front of your shirt. Stop being so, my hand won't follow it. The best thing about the hypnosis show is that the volunteers and their imaginations really make it a blast.
Holy crap, dude, did you see what you just did? You could do that possibly to girls.
For booking information, go to Jesse Moffett Entertainment on Facebook. That's JESSEMOFFITT. Or call 605-929-0964.
He's just the eyeballs. Once again, here is Dave Holly.
Welcome back, everybody. Always a pleasure to bring you new guests. But if you've been around the Sioux Falls music scene, this one you probably already know. Ken Hoyne, how are you?
You know, today's a great day.
It's always a great day when I get to see you.
Thanks, Dave.
And especially when you get to see you playing the trombone, and you do it quite well.
Thank you. Thank you.
And of recent times, been able to see you, let's see, with Slim Man. You came on and played a couple of tunes at the end of his show.
That was fun.
Yeah, and then, of course, you have your own, the Bonafide band that plays here at Our Wine, where we're recording this lovely chat.
Bonafide Jazz, yes, was kind of a brainchild of mine a number of years ago. Mr. Bill Watrous has an album called Bonafide, and it's BONE-IFIED, and I happened to run into him and talked with him and said, you know, I really, really like that. Would you be okay if I took that and put jazz on the end of it and that name to my band that? And he said, oh, no, that would be great. So that's how Bonafide Jazz came about.
Didn't have to give any copyrights away or anything?
No, I didn't.
Sweet.
I didn't. I don't have to pay royalties either.
And you also played recently. Were you in that Sinatra?
I was.
As well.
I was. That was
I didn't get to see that. I wish I...
Gavin Wig and I have a small big band. We call it the Little Big Band, called Kickin' Brass.
Yep.
And we were the backup band for this Sinatra Experience gentleman, Dave. Oh, I can't remember.
Yeah.
Can't remember his name. It was a lot of fun. He was really good.
Yeah, and that's fantastic. I wanted to see it because I'm a huge Sinatra fan, but didn't quite make it. You can't make it to everything.
Oh, well, you try though, Dave.
I do. We get to a few things, that's for sure. So what got you into playing the trombone?
Well, I was actually forced into playing the trombone by my father, who was a band director. And as I was growing up as a young child, I always wanted to be a trumpet player. That's when Doc Severinsen was coming about, and Rafael Mendez, and some of those old great trumpet players. And I went, wow, Dad, that's what I want. I want to play the trumpet. And he said, nope. You're going to play the trombone. Since you don't have the face for the trumpet. Your lips are too big and your embrasure's not right. You'd be much better for the trombone. I went, what are you talking about? I want to play the trumpet. He goes, nope, you're going to play the trombone.
Yeah,
so I did. So I picked up playing the trombone, and then 4 years later, my younger brother came about, and of course he got to play the trumpet. So
any jealousy in that?
A lot.
Yeah.
So basically I learned how to play the trumpet while he was learning how to play the trumpet. Then I learned to read trumpet music on the trombone, and we would play duets, and I would play in the same register as the trumpet on the trombone. So it's a lot of fun.
So did you play treble clef then on the trombone?
Yeah, I can read all of those. Yeah,
all of it. Huh?
They're just notes.
Yeah. Well, you make them sound smooth.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
You know how young were you when your father said, "No, you're
10.
playing the 10"?
I was 10.
Okay, that's a good age to start, though.
That's about when everybody starts.
Yeah, usually fifth grade-ish. Fifth grade band.
The summer between fourth and fifth grade.
Yeah. And did you enjoy it, or was there some angst because your dad was making you do it?
Well, my father was a disciplinarian. He was called Mr. Discipline in the high school. And so everybody was deathly afraid of my father, including me. He was a discipline, just one of those taskmasters. Right. So I had to play the trombone, and everybody had to turn in practice slips every week for how much did you practice? And
right, I recall those.
My father said, well, if I'm going to require everybody else to do it, you're going to do it too. So 30 minutes every single day, 7 days a week, 15 minutes in the morning before I went to school, 15 minutes when I came home. He said, that's what you have to do. And then after that, if you want to find something else to play around or something, you can certainly do that. But this is what you're going to do. And it worked out pretty good.
How old not how old, excuse me. How often do you practice now?
0.
Really? It's just whenever you get a gig, you go up and go to it?
I've been blessed with a face that is great for radio. So, and I have a cast iron chops, and they seem to work pretty good. I play 5 or 6 times a month, and that seems to be plenty. And I don't like to practice. I mean, if I have a gig where somebody sends me a bunch of music and I look at it and I go, geez, I can't play that right now, so I'll actually work on it. But other than that, you usually don't practice at all.
Yeah. You play a lot of jazz. Is that your favorite?
It is. Yeah. It is. But my professional career started in rhythm and blues.
Okay.
So in 1972, I was going to college at the University of South Dakota, and was the very last day of the year. So I'm cleaning out my dorm room and got everything done, and I went back up to do that final check that you do before you leave, and the phone rings. And I picked it up and said, hello. And he goes, yes, is this Ken Hoyne? I go, yes. He goes, well, this is Randy Christensen from the Fabulous Flippers, and we're looking for a trombone player. And I went, yeah, right, thanks. So I hung up the phone because everybody on campus knew that I just worshipped the Fabulous Flippers, the greatest rhythm and blues, blue-eyed soul band, horn show band in the area since 1964. And I just worshipped him. So, and then 30 seconds later, the phone rang again. I said, no, really, this is Randy Christensen from the Flippers, and we're looking for a trombone player. Would you like to audition? And I said, well, yes. So I auditioned, got the gig, and didn't go back to college.
Okay.
And eventually I did. But.
Right. But in the meantime, did they give you a little bit of grief? because of that, of hanging up the phone?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah,
of
and
course.
does it still stand to this day?
Absolutely. Yeah. This is, 48 years later. Yes. So.
All right. Play any other instruments then?
Trumpet.
You do, because you learned from your brother, or
yes.
learned alongside your brother.
And being a music education major at the University of South Dakota, I know how to play every instrument.
Right.
But I can't do it. But I functionally know how to. My left hand has done nothing. It's my entire career except hold the trombone. So anything having to do with dexterity in the left hand, like play the piano or the clarinet or the saxophone or anything having to do with the left hand, I'm not going to.
Or those drummer guys that all four, all four limbs are going.
No way.
Yeah, me neither. One of my favorite questions to ask guitar players is, like, how many guitars do you have in the closet and so forth?
Mm-hmm.
How many trombones?
I have 4.
4?
Yep.
Okay. Tell people why you have 4. Most people think, okay, the guy plays trombone, and bet he's had it for a bajillion years, and that's it.
I have the first professional trombone that I ever got. My dad bought me when I was a freshman in high school. I still have that trombone.
Uh-huh.
And then I have the first. My dad raised me to be a Tommy Dorsey fan. So I have the same model trombone that Tommy Dorsey played that I bought in 1976. And then I found in 1984, I found a it's a 1954 King 2B Silver Sonic, which is like the holy grail of trombones. So I have one of those. And then about 7 years ago, I was watching a Chicago video, and I'm looking at Jimmy Pankow, who is from a rock and roll standpoint. He's the guy that made me go, oh, you can play something other than what's written on the page, and it can be rock and roll, and you can have fun. So I found the exact model trombone that he plays on eBay, and so I bought it and got it and had it. Rich Hastings over at Popular Music refurbished it for me, and it was so those are my 4 trombones.
Which one do you play the most?
The Jimmy Pankow.
Okay.
It's a Yamaha 691.
Yeah. See, model numbers even for trombones.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. That's how you differentiate. That's how you differentiate them. So.
What do they do for you, though? I mean, to have the 4 different, you get different sounds out of them. Do you feel you play this one better, or
no
difference to you? It's
just they're trombones.
Right,
and,
you like them for what they are.
I had a fetish that I always wanted a King 2B, so that was the King 2B Liberty that I bought in 1976, and then I found the Holy Grail, same one, and then eventually it was like, the trombone is so small, and I put a lot of air through the horn, being a rock and roll guy, and I found, I'm peeling the paint off the walls doing this. I like something a little bigger. So the 691 is, well, the King 2B is a 492 bore, and the Yamaha is a 508 bore, so it's about 10% bigger.
Okay, yeah, because we'll see different trombones. You'll see some that have a little extra tubage in the back and
cheaters.
So forth.
Yeah.
Got the little
cheater. Yeah,
right, and then also just some bigger bells sometimes and so forth. And I've often wondered, does that really make a difference? Or is it still up to the person playing the trombone?
It's not the arrow, it's the archer.
Yeah.
So you can have the most fabulous trombone on the planet, but if you don't know what to do with it, there's it. So
yeah.
But but there's some really, really, really great trombone players in this area that are just I'm still in awe.
Well, and the thing is, you guys don't get enough. You don't get enough bragging rights and so forth.
No,
you have your own. Yeah, you have your own band, so at least you've got that where you can be front and center. But otherwise, people see somebody playing the trombone in the back. But well, it's not Jimmy Spears on the trumpet. So.
Well, trombones, we're kind of like the Rodney Dangerfield of musicians. We get no respect.
Yeah.
So. No, everybody give trombone players crap. So all of the crazy trombone player jokes here. So what's the first thing a trombone player says when he gets to the gig? Says, would you like fries with that? Or, if you find a trombone player on your at your front door, how do you make him go away? Pay him for the pizza. Or how can you tell if a trombone player's kid's on the playground? He's the one that can't swing and doesn't know how to rook the slides.
Oh my! Well, it's glad I'm glad you get to have fun with that and so forth. I played baritone in high school in concert band, and then in jazz band played the valve trombone, or as you referred to it the first time I told you that is a cheat.
Yeah, cheaters. Yeah. No, the baritone. My father was a baritone player.
Okay.
That's it. But he played trombone. He used to front the Norm Gefke Orchestra here in Sioux Falls when he was going to college at the Sioux Falls College back in the
before
late 30s.
Before it was a university.
Correct. So he did that, and so that's kind of, he told me, if you want to play music, that's a great thing to do. But he said, I turned around one night and looked like all the people having fun were out there on the dance floor. So I hung it up, and so he and my mom were ballroom dancers, and that's what they did. So.
Wow. Did you ever play a gig where they were ballroom dancing?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Hundreds of them.
What's that like then? When you're on stage and you see relatives, and especially close relatives, immediate family type, and so forth.
My mother and father were like skaters. They were gliders. They were so smooth. And watching them, it was so much fun. And my dad being a musician and everything, it was always fun. And he always gave me a good critique, honest critique at the end of the night. So that was good. It's great.
Yeah. How critical was he then of you versus others?
Always terribly critical. Says, listen to that solo that you did there in Moonlight in Vermont. Says, that F7 chord on the end there. Says, you kind of missed that one out. Yeah, I did that. Thanks. So,
do you have to have long arms to play a trombone?
It helps.
Yeah, because 7 positions.
Yes.
Yeah.
Especially if you don't have the F attachment cheater.
Okay.
The valve. Basically, what that does is it takes 6th position and moves it back up to 1st. So you don't actually have to play there. So, but wow. I don't play an F attachment. Yeah. I never have. I've always been just a straight trombone.
You weren't taken by it like, oh, that looks cool because it's got all that extra tubing or anything?
No, I don't, and I don't know why. I just never did. My college professor down at the University of South Dakota, Larry Mitchell, just passed away. By the way, rest in peace, Larry. He's the only trombone player I've ever had a lesson from. He always wanted to say, Ken, you got to get a big horn. You got to get a big horn. You got to learn those classical music. He says, Larry, nah, I want to play jazz.
Mm-hmm.
So
you had the jazz feeling early then.
Yes, well, jazz, rhythm and blues, rock and roll. Yeah. So
but you said your dad, Tommy Dorsey, and then also you mentioned Jimmy Pankow from Chicago. Mm-hmm. What other famous trombonists did you get inspiration from?
Bill Watrous.
Okay.
He was incredible. In 1971, he put out an album with his big band called Manhattan Wildlife Refuge, and they have a song called Fourth Floor Walk Up. And in that song, there is a build up to a trombone cadenza. And for musicians out there listening, the trumpet players scream up and like this, and they land on the high F sharp, way above the staff. This way I call it the squee, F sharp up on the top there on that note. And Bill Watrous starts his cadenza on that note.
Wow.
Just, and I went, holy smokes, I got to learn how to do that.
Yeah.
So that was the first inspiration of playing the really, really high notes and great solos. And then I ran in there, heard about a guy named Frank Rosolino. Mm-hmm. Frank Rosolino is the king of the triplets. He's the all over the place. And then was listening to a band called it's the Super Sax.
Okay.
That's what a Super Sax. Med Flory from Los Angeles arranged Charlie Parker solos for 5 saxes and put together that with a rhythm section. And then the soloists, Conti Condoli and Carl Fontana, were the soloists on trumpet and trombone. And listening to Carl Fontana play it, I just went, oh. And so now Carl Fontana is my all-time favorite. He passed away about 11 years ago. So.
Is jazz making a comeback, a resurgence? Is it just finally getting its gears?
You know,
what would you say?
Jazz is evolving, and there's on Sirius XM there's a station called Watercolors, and they call that contemporary jazz.
Right.
So it's more. Some people go, "Oh, geez, I don't like that smooth jazz." I says, "Well, but if you listen to it, it is the same stuff that was going on before, complicated changes and everything like that, set to a modern hip hop rhythm, which is kind of fascinating." So I see people and talk to people who follow that kind of music. The old traditional jazz, I call it pretty music.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I like to play, just because I jazz with the melody. That's where it all comes from. So I think, thanks to Ricardo here at our wine bar and bringing out that, there's a lot of resurgence of people coming out to hear live music, and in particular live jazz.
Right. And I've enjoyed it ever since it started up around here. You know, I used to be a big fan of Jazz Fest, and have been fortunate enough to see, you know, some pretty good players. You know, Doc Severinsen, the last time he was here, you know, took that in, had front row seats to that.
Oh, yeah.
And I do like to go see, I think I've seen Chicago 3 times now. And always have loved the fact that they had a trombone in there. And it's just, you know, so fun to see brass. And your band, Kicker Brass, I have seen you guys play a couple of times too. So you're in a variety of things. What do you think is the next step then? You say that, you know, jazz is kind of evolving right now. There's more places to play now. There's more people getting involved in it. What's going to happen next?
I think people are starting to understand that you can sit in your living room and listen to recorded music, and you can listen to it over and over and over again. It will be exactly the same each time you listen to it, which is okay. But that's going to move you once. When you go and you hear live music, that's going to move you then, and then you go back and hear it again, and it's different. It's going to move you again, and it can stir your soul. It can ignite all kinds of emotions, and live music is the best. And I go back to old Raz. I remember Raz McTarian from the Touch of Europe way back in the day. He was a kind of our live music jazz aficionado back, 15, 20 years ago. And Ricardo has kind of taken up that and brought that too. And, hopefully there's some other places that are going to bring live music back to, whether it's jazz or whether it's rock and roll, whether it's hip hop, whatever it is. Get out and experience the live music.
Yeah, very true. And that's one of my favorite parts about jazz, especially, is the improvisation that takes place. Do you learn that, or is that something that's just in you as a musician?
Well, I have a twisted sense of humor, and so I always tell people, it says, yeah, I learned jazz at a place called MSU. It says, we just make stuff up. So, but it's do you learn it? Kind of. You learn the theory behind what makes music sound the way that it does, and then you take your own spin on that, kind of spontaneous composition, if you will, and create music on the spot based on what you're hearing. And a lot of times you'll have music up there, but it basically let's say it's a B flat major 7, and if you don't know what a B flat major 7 chord sounds like, you go, oh, I don't know what that is. B flat. A lot of new jazz musicians don't understand that you have to understand that B flat, D, F, A natural on that as opposed to a B flat 7 with B flat, F, A, B flat, D, F, A flat, which is the dominant. So learning what those chords sounds like is where the basis comes. And so do you learn it? Yeah, you don't know what you're going to do, because it's spontaneous. You never do the same thing twice. Paul Winter from I don't know if you remember the old Paul Winter Consort. back in the day, yes. He did a concert in Vermilion back in the early 1970s, and he did a clinic, and he started, the nice thing about jazz improvisation is you can never make a mistake.
Yeah.
You may play a note that doesn't sound right, but that's not a mistake because it's your music, it's your composition. So just because it doesn't sound right to somebody else or doesn't sound right to you, doesn't make a mistake, that's what you did. The fact that you don't do it again, that's okay. And he also said, no matter what note you play, you're only a half step away from the right one. So
that's perfect. I love that. What is your favorite song to play?
Wow, there's a question, boy. What is my favorite song to play? I'm going to have to say there's a song that was written by Jerome Kern. It's called A Beautiful Friendship. Carl Fontana did that years and years ago, and it just lays so well, and the lyric. Even though I'm a trombone player, I don't I sing a little bit, but mainly I'm an instrumentalist. But this song this is the end of a beautiful friendship, just the beginning of love. So it's about the transition from knowing a person as a friend and then evolving into a romantic relationship, that's or a deep friendship or whatever it is. So it's a great song, both lyrically and harmonically. So
all right. Well, I will have to put that one on the must listen to list.
Oh yes, you have to do that. Live at the Concord is the name of the album.
Okay.
The Hannah Fontana Band.
All right.
So
got it. There's always two questions I like to ask at the end. First of all, when you're not part of the entertainment scene, what do you like to be entertained by?
Well, geez, music. I mean, I go to the symphony. I go hear dance bands. There's live music at the Shrine that happens all the time. Over at the Dada Gastro Pub, they have music over there, hip hop musicians and things like that. And it's the entertainment by live music is you're part of a conversation that's going on. It's kind of like what we're doing now. If we had instruments, we'd be doing the same thing, but now we're doing it with words. But still, this is a communication. This is a conversation that happens musically as well as in podcasts and over the radio and on TV and just, sitting down with somebody over a glass of wine and just having a chat.
All right. Final question then. Any other hobbies?
Golf.
How often do you get out?
Not as often as I'd like, just because it takes so darn long to do that.
Yeah.
So I've started to cut back a little bit and
play more 9
holes.
18.
Exactly. But it's a great game. It's 95% social, 5% sport.
Yeah.
So again, that conversation, whether you're walking or whether you're riding around, is you have the conversation with the person that you're there, and you get out and then you get terminally frustrated by trying to hit this little white ball that's not moving. It's just sitting there waiting to be hit, and still you can totally mess it up.
Like the old George Carlin routine about golf. You hit it, you walk, you find it, pick it up.
Exactly.
But no, you hit it again.
Yeah, hit it again. Yeah.
Ken, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much. When's Bonafide playing next?
We're back here the third Thursday of every month, so I believe that would be November 18th. And then again on December 16th. So third Thursday, it's going to be fun.
All right. Look forward to it. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate it. And we'll be back with more of the Dave Holly Hour in just a moment.
Ladies, when it's time to give your nails some love, get that extra special treatment from Quality Nails on South Minnesota Avenue in Sioux Falls. Manicures and pedicures that look great and make you feel fantastic. Zaya and Tony provide professional care for your hands and feet, whether you just want the basics or an extra special look with added flair. Oh, and guys, it's okay to treat yourself too. Quality Nails. Call for an appointment. 605-334-1463.
Welcome back, everybody. Once again, a new guest. We keep adding to the guest lineup. We keep adding to the types of arts that we cover, arts and entertainment. Tell you what, this gal's going to blow us all away because of everything that she does. Madison Lynn Rimmer, how are you?
I am good. How are you?
Glad to hear that. I'm wonderful. I'm better anytime I see you.
Hey.
Yeah. You've got a lot going on.
Yeah.
And you've had a lot going on.
Yeah.
And you're going to have even more going on, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
All right. So you consider yourself a creator.
Yes.
And a singer and an actor.
Yes.
Out of the three, what's most accurate? I mean, first things first. Put them in the order of those three.
I think I'm a creator, like creative type first. And I definitely think actor, singer second. I value them both equally. Yeah.
Oh, like that. Yeah. So let's start with the Madison Lynn Rimmer story then. So I know you grew up not too far from Sioux Falls, down in the Great Lakes of Iowa area.
Yes.
Oh, fun. Arnold's Park and so forth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Good times. And we've got some friends in common. First of all, there's that guy that moves around a lot on stage, Simon Floss.
Oh, yes. How could I forget?
And also then Kelly Kaufman.
Kelly Kaufman.
Yeah. Kelly is a good friend of Simon's.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know
and,
who you're talking about. Yep.
They both grew up down in that area
They
too,
did.
so it's fun. So what got you started in singing, acting?
Oh, man. Well, yeah, I grew up on a really small farm, actually like 15 miles outside of the Okoboji from Westlake, pretty much.
Okay.
And I was raised for about 6 years by a single mom. And I lived with my grandparents, and I spent a lot of time by myself outside on the farm playing, creating,
I was going to say,
naturally.
coming up with whatever you could, right?
Yes. Yeah. And I think that's where I learned to sing. I was singing at a very young age, and I think it just brought me a lot of joy. And my mom would get out the video camera and I'd give her a whole concert. And I think from that moment I was like, oh, I love this, and it really stuck. And, she married when I was 6 and we moved to Esterville, Iowa, which is, I can't even give you a mileage. Like
I know exactly
minutes.
where it is. In fact, I used to do some sports play-by-play many years ago.
Okay.
And found it ironic that this basketball team that came out, and they were all like 6'6" plus, and the nickname was the Midgets.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing that's been changed?
No.
They're still the Midgets?
Yes, it is.
They did not get politically correct on that?
It didn't.
Wow, amazing. So, so over in Esterville then.
Yes. So I think in about 4th grade, I joined choir and actually ended up doing that all the way into college. So chorally, been doing that for a long time. I miss it nowadays though, with, being out, but yeah, so I think I just continued to sing, and through that, theater was kind of an add-on. One hand in hand. Right. And so started doing that and became more heavily involved in high school. And it's funny because right when I was about to graduate high school, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. And in my mind, I was like, no, I love sports. Oh my gosh, I love volleyball and golf and all these things. And it's just so crazy telling it now, but I was offered a scholarship to go and golf for a college down in Southern Iowa. And theater was not a major there. I don't even know if they had an arts program.
Wow.
And I almost went to school for golf. like the odds. And it was such a last minute thing. I ended up.
What school was it, by the way?
William Penn.
Oh, William Penn,
Oskaloosa.
Okay.
Did I say that right? Yeah.
Yeah, because I was going to say, I had a scholarship opportunity at Simpson.
Okay. Yep. So, yeah, it was and that just blows my mind now being where I'm at. But ended up auditioning last minute at USF just by I can't even tell you how that came to be. And they offered, theater and music scholarships. And I was like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. I should probably do that. And yeah, so that's how that happened.
And did that mean that you met the great Kim Bartling?
You know, I actually had just missed her.
Really?
And I was all 4 years, well, 4.5 years with Joe Obermueller.
Yeah.
But I did get to work with Kim actually my final year of college in a production of Mamma Mia.
Oh.
And so
great
I was,
show.
Yes, great.
That's
great
the most fun I've had in that in the Orpheum.
Goodness,
Yeah.
me too.
Amazing.
I mean, I love Mamma Mia.
Yeah.
And so does my family. And so, I mean, the rehearsal process is so easy because like you already know the music. But yeah, so I did get to meet Kim later on. But yeah, so graduated from USF, and you know, in between there was trips and frequent visits to New York and training and professional contracts, and you know, the whole theater thing kind of took off for me. And then a graduation happened, and I graduated about 2.5 months prior to the shutdown. And wow, what a hard time to graduate.
No kidding.
And yeah, so I stayed in Sioux Falls then for a while until it kind of eased up. Although South Dakota really never had too much of a shutdown. I feel like we...
True.
Yes.
A lot of things kept it.
Yeah. And then I moved to New York and in January of this year, and I spent a brief time out there, and, you know, lots of things happened, and I'm still processing that. And then I just, you know, had a change in hearts and just in what I wanted to do, what kind of artist I wanted to be. And I just felt like I was still being called to be back here. And I am here now.
And we're glad you are.
As short as I could tell it, yes.
Oh, fantastic, because it is nice to have you here. I've seen you in a few things.
Yeah, thank you.
You know, Mamma Mia, for one thing.
Yes.
But, you know, also some Good Night Theater collectives
Yes.
that you've been a part of. And, you know, it's... I talk about this often on this show, is that, you know, I grew up down in Rock Rapids. So when I was, you know, 16, 42 years ago, and driving up to Sioux Falls, you know, you got your license. So then you could drive for your big date. Yes.
How about that? Okay.
And ironically, it was at the State Theater, which now is reopened.
How about that?
But anyway, you know, you know, they'd have some concerts come here from time to time. You could go see a little bit of art.
Right.
They, you know, had a few things at the arena now and then.
Right.
Sometimes out at the Coliseum. I remember being a junior in high school and coming up and watching the symphony and so forth. So it's like, okay, you know, it's obviously a bigger city.
Yeah.
And wanting to become one. But since that time, man, you know, it's gone through a lot of different phases, but the past decade to maybe the past 15 years, there has just been this explosion of arts.
Oh my gosh.
People caring about the arts.
Yes.
Places to have the art. You know, who'd have thunk that we'd be saying that, you know, there's this book co-op.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they're going to have some poetry readings. Well, that would make sense, you know, books. Oh, but they're doing experimental play. Well, isn't that cool? Oh, they're having some live local musicians and so forth. And it's just been great to see that. So was that part of what, you know, was tugging at the heartstrings? That you recognized this?
You know, and I am so grateful for the time that I did spend in New York and for the opportunity and the connections that I made with the Broadway community out there and just really getting a hands-on experience. That being said, there are, in so much respect for the industry, there just are different types of actors and different creative types. And I feel as though when I was involved with that community, there's just a part of me that felt like I wasn't quite able to dig as deep as I would like because I was more overwhelmed by the idea that it was a business, which it is. In the industry, it is a business at the end of the day. But I was seeking something that was more fulfilling artistically, in the sense of wanting to really dig into a story and focus on that and not have to focus on the financial side of it, the fiscal year or anything like that, which theater as it is already presents its financial limitations when it comes to, hiring and paying people appropriately and all that. It's a mess, but we do it anyways. Mm-hmm. And I think, and I don't remember who said this, but I've heard it repeated multiple times, and it was stuck in my head. It was create art where you're at. And New York is amazing. I mean, the energy and the ambiance is just out of this world. And artistically, it is fulfilling. But at the end of the day, you have to sit down and be like, okay, do I want to spend the rest of my life auditioning for the chance to maybe keyword, be in 1 or 2 shows? And still have to work 7 jobs on the side and be stressed about money the entire time. Right. To some people, that grab is it. The drive. They want that chase. They want that high because that one show is worth it for them. And me being a brunette soprano, I'm in one of the largest pools out there. There are so many of us. And we're all unique. We're all individual. However, there are only so many roles and there are, that can be filled. And so at the end of the day, I'm like, okay, I'm in like one of the largest cities in the world and I'm in the largest pool in the world. So what are my actual chances of being able to really be creative? Because at this point, I'm working nonstop in a job I don't care about, for the chance that I might get to be on stage at some point, but I'm also here and it's COVID and there aren't any auditions happening. So, I mean, it's a culmination of all of that happening. And then I had come back to visit my family and just seeing some of my friends who I had met in Goodnight and friends I had made in college and my hometown friends, I just lit up again. Like New York beats the crap out of you. Yeah. And that's okay because I'm fine with having some tough skin. Yeah. Okay. Like that is great.
And think of the experience regardless.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And one of my friends, I was on the phone with them and they're like, wow, you sound happy again. And I was like, oh, like maybe was I not happy in New York? And, it was a long process of reevaluation and really trying to understand what it was that I was after. And I just came to the idea of moving back and being okay with that decision. And it all fell into place really nicely. And now being back, I am busy out of my ears, like just nonstop involvement in the arts community and endless opportunities here. And I'm like, that is what I want to do because that gives me the opportunity to be creative and be an artist and be empathetic and be a storyteller. Whereas in New York, I'm just another person who is working and who is just auditioning.
I would guess then that New York is also, you would be more of a specialist and you wouldn't get that creative side that you were seeking because your creativity is beyond being just the brunette soprano.
Right. It is. I mean, and I did briefly have, I was teaching theater out there and that was great, children's theater. And I really did enjoy that. But at the end of the day, I'm only 24 and it's said, and in my opinion, it's really true. Like you really have about 10 years to play up your character type before physically you start to change, your vocals start to change. And especially women, I mean, women go through vocal changes later on in their 20s. Men have it a little bit earlier, but so you have to take that into account. So if you've spent your whole life, okay, well, a good portion of your life training to do this, are you going to spend that time slot trying to be in theater or actually or doing it? And right now I want to be on stage. I want to be a storyteller. Someday I'll probably end up teaching or switch to a different side of it once I've had what I feel like is enough experience for me to be able to coach someone or help someone and be able to speak from the opposing side. So it was a whole process of deciding what it is I want to do and how to fulfill that void.
So what do you have coming up right now then?
Oh man.
I know you're helping with a lot of things, but
Yes.
how about for getting you back on stage? What are we looking at?
I am starting rehearsals in a few weeks for an original, Luke Tachi original, Suspect. It is going to be so good. Just listening to Luke talk about it is actually really inspiring because you can tell he's just so passionate about it. And that makes you want to be a part of that, And so I don't know anything about the plot. He won't tell any of us. We have our first table read, I think the second week in November. And the cast is just so fun. And I'm really honored to be a part of an original work. And so I'll be doing that from November to January. And then I have about a month off. And in that month, I'll be teaching a master class at the Orpheum with Alex Newcomb-Weiland. And that's an audition masterclass. So they're bringing education to the Orpheum or to the Premier Playhouse. So that's really awesome. And right after that, I start rehearsals for Into the Woods. So
yeah, busy season ahead for you. That's for sure.
Oh man, I'm looking forward to it. I really am.
I can tell that. So what about the creative side of you then?
Yeah. Well, so I just started a new job actually with a boutique called the Mason Jar Boutique, and I'm a creative content specialist. So I'm in front of the camera 3 times or more a day, doing live sales, creating posts, TikToks, things like that. And it's constant creativity. And that is really a great day job for me. And then to be able to go to rehearsal right afterwards, I am fulfilled and exhausted in the best ways.
Right.
So that is what I do for my
And not
day
7
job.
jobs.
Not 7 jobs.
That's a good thing.
Just 1 or 2 here and there. And it's really great. So
what do you love about being on stage?
Oh man. The ability to be in a space where I can choose to be empathetic and be in touch with my emotions and to feel no guilt about that. And not that you ever should, but there comes a time and a place where you have to turn them on and off in day-to-day life. And on stage, that is an opportunity for you to connect with a group of people in the audience and change perspectives. And that is so meaningful to me. Just to know that I've put a lot of work into stepping into someone else's shoes or to understanding a different perspective, and then to have, even if it's one person that leaves the audience with a change of heart, a change of mind, or a different perspective. At the end of the day, if it's just one, I have done my job as an artist. That is my purpose, is to bring light to different scenarios and different people, and that's fulfilling within itself. And then of course on the other side, we're all adrenaline junkies, so being on stage is great. Once the lights hit you, it's just like you're in a different world. The outside world doesn't exist, and I love that so deeply, to just be able to step out of the chaos that is constantly going on. So yeah, that is what I love about being on stage, and to just know that I am like pouring my heart out and singing my face off to these people, and that I've been given these gifts and I'm using them to the best of my ability and to do something good.
So you've done some teaching.
Yes.
And you're going to be doing some more teaching. Have you done any directing?
I have not. And
is it on the schedule?
Yes, I would love to get my hands on something. Something. I know that I've talked about children's theater a lot. I love all aspects of that. I know that would be a big bite for me to chew off, because I'm one of those people that's like, oh, I want to do everything myself, because I just feel like I don't want to burden other people. But I think that would be such a great challenge for me, to be in a scenario where I can collaborate with different aspects, because I've worked in all sides. I mean, the tech side, on stage, and the director side is a one that I have yet to touch. And I am looking forward to the day that opportunity comes, because I do feel as though I love to receive constructive criticism and also be able to give it in the idea that we are moving towards the same goal.
Yeah.
So yeah, someday, fingers crossed.
All right. I'm looking forward to that. I think it'll be great. So in the meantime, favorite role you've played?
Oh gosh. Okay. I have two. My first one is Little Red in Into the Woods. And to those who have not dug deep into that story, they might feel like, oh, that's a given. You know, every theater person loves Into the Woods or Sondheim. But there's particular reasons I love that role, and it's the complexity of the story and the meaning behind it, especially as a woman, and especially for things that I've experienced in my life. That role meant a lot to me. The second one is Kate in Oklahoma, because that was just the most fun I've ever had on stage, is in an ensemble role. And there was like a 12-minute ballet, and it was challenging. And gosh, it was a lot of fun to be country and just like really let loose.
I always have two questions at the end.
Yes.
One is, when you're not part of the entertainment scene, what do you like to be entertained by?
Movies. I love a good psych thriller. Once a week, I'm looking at the movies, what's playing at, at the West Mall or the State or any of the Cinemark theaters. I love a good like A24 film. Oh man. I love a good movie. Books. I've started like 10 books. I never finished them. I just continue to start more, but I do like to read when I have time. And hanging out with friends. I am very extroverted, so any chance I get to spend time with people and quality time, that's my favorite thing.
Yeah. Any other hobbies?
I taught myself how to bake, so I love to bake.
What's the go-to?
Well, desserts. My best dessert to this day was creme brulee cupcakes from scratch, all the way through. 4 hours in the kitchen. The recipe said 45, but I beg to differ. That was my best recipe to date. It was my COVID project, and now I'm keeping it in my life. So.
All right. Well, it's been great to get to know you more, and looking forward to the things that you mentioned that you're going to be in, and the goals of directing and so forth.
Yeah.
It's been just such a pleasure. So thank you for taking some time to be on the show.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity.
And we'll be back to wrap up the Dave Holly Hour in just a moment.
Dr. Perry Langston and Dr. Corey Tooney know excellence is in you. That's why they provide you with excellent care at XL Chiropractic, improving your overall health in spirit, body, mind, and will. Get results the natural way. Arrange a consultation, 605-332-9235 or xlchiros.com. Excellent care for excellent people. XL Chiropractic, located at 4309 South Racket Drive in Sioux Falls.
So, what else do you have for us? Nothing?
All right. Thank you once again, everybody. Always appreciate it when you are on that other end listening, whether you listen or whether you're download. The downloads are up over 6,000 now, 6,100, maybe even by the time this comes out. It might be 6,200. And that's a great thing. But you know what I appreciate even more? Because, some people will download, and that helps me out, yes. But listening, I want to have an impact on you. That you say, Dave, I hadn't thought about going to that before, but this sounds really fun. Thanks for interviewing so-and-so, having a great conversation with him. So thank you for listening, downloads, shares on social media, etc. Thank you again to all of my guests. But first, thank you to Ricardo at Our Wine Bar. Since there were 3 of them, and I was there for quite a while, when I finished, Ricardo took a look at me. He says, "So was that a Dave Holly marathon today?" But thank you once again to Mark Gillespie and Michael Pearson from Neon Horizon. And thank you to Ken Hoyne from Bonafide Jazz Band. And thank you, Miss Madison Lynn Rimmer. So here's what's coming up for Dave and the missus. We're going to be at tonight's pilot taping, I guess you could say. Does anybody use film anymore? Of Late Night Boomin'. That's at the Washington Pavilion. Starts at 7. Again, get there early so you can get a seat. The tickets are free for their pilot, so take advantage of that. Saturday night, me and the missus, we've got a couple of costumes we've made, and we will be at that front porch Halloween bash. That starts at 7, goes till 10-ish. Also, Sunday, the original friend of the show, Miss Elizabeth Hunstead, is playing the afternoon at Wild Prairie Winery. So we will get to that as well to see her. But in the meantime, thank you again for listening. Have yourself a great weekend, a safe Halloween. Don't forget, it won't be long and we'll be turning the clocks back and so forth. So get prepared, and get prepared to drink more hot chocolate and make more chili, because it's getting chilly. All right, I'm Dave Holly. For me, every day is a holiday.
The Dave Holly Hour has been brought to you by the Sky Lounge and Tea, XL Chiropractic, Quality Nails, Hop Brewery Tours, and Jesse Moffett Entertainment. If you would like to contribute to the continued success of this podcast, go to DaveHollyHour.com. At the bottom of the front page is the additional links section. Click on the orange button, Dave Holly on Linktree. You can order merchandise, become a Dave Holly Hour VIP, and make contributions to the show. The Dave Holly Hour is produced in the Dipsy Doodle Studios by Big D Entertainment.
Thanks for listening.